want to know what the deal is with this crazy bartender.
He doesn't need words.
Hi everyone, it's Nick here.
And Trevor.
And Jono.
And we've just watched...
Mute.
Well, yes, of course, this is the new Netflix thing that's come out. I was hoping that Annihilation will also be up, but I believe that's on the 23rd of March, or somewhere in March, isn't it?
Somewhere in March.
Yeah. So this is directed by Duncan Jones, who is the son of the late and absolutely brilliant David Bowie. And yeah, so the internet has been giving this movie a lot of hate. At the moment, I believe it's on 6% on Rotten Tomato.
Less
6?
something? Yeah, it's
We looked at it
low.
just before.
Yeah.
6%, for fuck's sake. Lower than Batman vs Superman? I know, sorry. Let's start on my right and your left. What did you think of the movie?
I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it is very slow. It's very slow burn. And you're not really following one person. You're following two stories that eventually converge into one, and they're both very different stories.
Yeah.
So one is like very serious when you follow Alexander Skarsgård's character, who's the mute bartender,
Very tall.
looking for his lover, and his is very serious, very like staid. Everything's like there's nothing humorous about it. And then you're following Paul Rudd's Cactus character, who is the other side of the
Cactus
story,
Bull.
and he's completely insane. And
He's fucking mad.
and you're laughing at half the things he's doing. So it's very odd.
I think it's inconsistent in that way, and I can see why some people would, not argue, but not like it, because as you say, correct, but the thing is, I don't think they get the point that there's supposed to be two storylines.
Yes.
And you're looking at it from two different people's perspectives. As you said, the completely insane Paul Rudd, and I mean, he's brilliant though. He
was good in this. Yeah,
very,
he was
very good.
They're both very good.
Yes, they're very, and also the other chap you like.
Yeah, Justin Theroux.
Mm.
I liked the chemistry between him and Paul Rudd's character because they sort of hint that there's a relationship between the two without actually ever
saying it. Yeah.
Well, they said one
doing
thing about
something.
touching dicks or something along those lines.
Yeah,
but you
that's
weren't
joking,
sure if it was a
but
joke.
also
Exactly,
jokes,
you
yeah.
weren't sure if it was a joke.
So there's like it could be, maybe not, etc.
That's what
But
they do. That's like you mentioned. That's something they do there a lot. Is they hint at a lot of things. They don't say a lot. So
Yes.
it's up to you to pick it up or not.
Yes.
One thing I also wondered about in this movie is that you had Sam Rockwell in it, but you didn't really. Why was he there?
Yeah, he
Just
was.
as a connection to the previous movie.
Yeah, do you think so? Do you think it was
Yes.
like a cameo? Because Duncan Jones directed Moon, which he didn't like. I absolutely love it. And of course, Sam Rockwell was the main character because he was about 5 characters, isn't it? And he's in the background in this, and and also he's multiple characters as well in that.
Yes.
So it's definitely a feeling. Yeah, you're quite right. Actually, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
So yes, when I say Sam Rockwell on the who's in this movie, not really
No,
in
for like 5 seconds.
in the
I was gonna
background.
say-
On a screen in the background.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's about 10 seconds, and like he says, "I object," and then somebody shouts out,
And then he
"I
swears
object
it,
to Your Honor,"
which is
as
him as
himself.
well.
Yeah.
And then another guy who's the defendant, and so that's quite a misleading thing. He's definitely not in this movie. Okay, so as far as the directing goes, what do you think as far as the directing? I mean, the camera shots and all that stuff.
Fine. There was nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
You?
No, I was fine with it. I liked the panning shots of the city.
Oh, it was very nice. Very
Blade
altered
Runner.
carbon Blade Runner. Yeah.
Altered carbon, Blade Runner, that sort of
What's
thing.
more Fifth Element?
But
Yeah, we'll get to this now.
Yeah.
no,
Just
but
remember to make
I
it-
enjoyed it. I thought it was good cinematography, and I mean the thing is, when Alexander Skarsgård's on the screen, you remember he's mute, so he ain't talking and he ain't making a noise. So you've got to cover emotion by not saying anything sometimes because he's often on his own doing his investigative work, etc. So I actually think they covered that quite well. There was like a scene actually I commented when we were watching, where Skarsgård like literally has to shout out, like do the facial expressions of like shouting in agony, but not
make a
a
sound.
peep.
He can't make. Yeah,
Yeah, you can't make a
sound.
peep, and it's actually more emotional because of that.
Yes.
I felt.
Yes, I
because
think it's the structure.
you almost feel his pain instead of hearing his pain.
Yes. Yeah,
So
that's strong.
I enjoyed that. I actually thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I did have a. I don't know. Skarsgård he's a great actor and stuff like that. I just don't think he was the right actor to choose for somebody who doesn't speak. So maybe I'm playing sort of like the bad guy over here. Because he only has about 3 or 4 expressions in this. I mean, yes, he's got the pain, he's got the puzzled looking, and the one thing I didn't like is there was 1 or 2 scenes, or actually quite a few scenes, where he like leans over and he kind of looks like he's a cripple, like a sort of Quasimodo, like trying to grab someone's hand, and there's no reason. I suppose he's so bloody tall, he's got to bend over. But I could think of a couple of better actors that would have done the facial thing. And him in conjunction or playing it alongside someone like Paul Rudd, who is just so brilliantly physical. Maybe that's why he just didn't strike me that well. As far as the actors.
you at all.
No. You said it. You said
I actually really liked his performance. I thought he did a lot of emoting.
And I think he did a lot of
Eyes.
emoting, but I think if you put someone else in there, like I don't know, even a Jim Carrey, a lot more emotion would have come out because.
No, but then I don't think that would suit the.
Like maybe not Jim Carrey.
Because that would be no, I don't mean Jim Carrey, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he did a good job in that he was very restrained with it as well.
Oh, okay, I could see
it
that.
would be very easy to go over the top with
Yeah.
facial expressions all over.
Don't
the
go
words.
full retard kind of
Yes,
story.
yeah.
Yes.
Maybe that was kind of the point.
Yeah.
Skarsgård's the one extreme, Paul Rudd's the other. But
Yes.
they
Maybe,
well off
yes.
one another,
Yes.
Because Paul Rudd's very, wave his hands, his facial
He's got
expression,
the
his
chop
voice,
thing over here, which apparently is his. It's not a.
etc. So yeah.
Unlike certain people in the Justice League, yes, he was allowed to keep his moustache in this, Okay, so yes, and Trev touched on something just now that he said that it's very similar to The Fifth Element, and I fucking
Visually.
completely agree. I completely agree. Please expand.
Because I've seen a lot of people comparing it to Blade Runner, and you do get that aesthetic because it's the neon and things like that. But it is if you've seen Fifth Element, it's got a lot more of that visual style where it's a lot smoother and things like that.
But even the makeup is what I'm in particular. I mean, the
Yes.
one chap's
Yeah.
hair is like this. He kind of reminds me of Gary Oldman's character. What's it, Norg or Zorg or whatever.
Yes.
Even with the plastic thing over the front of his head, it was very much like. And then the one lady who looked like she was basically picked out of Wakanda and sprayed with sort of gold paint. Brilliant makeup, and it's really good
Yes,
makeup.
it was
No,
really
very.
good.
And very good visuals, if you ask me.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing wrong. Like I say, Altered Carbon definitely pulls on the whole Blade Runner thing. And I was reading Twitter this morning, and William Gibson, who's a writer, I'm sure you guys know him, Necromancer. He was Neuromancer, that's the one. There's another one anyway. Wow, Nick. He said, I don't know if you guys would agree with this. He said that this movie, and wait for it, is more Blade Runner than Blade Runner 2049.
No.
I totally disagree with that.
Yeah,
but
not a chance.
Do you see where he's coming
Sorry.
from?
I wouldn't compare it to Blade Runner at all.
At all. It has nothing to do
It's
with.
only a vague visual similarity.
Yes.
I was going to
Thank
say
you.
it's the for me. Sorry, the visuals of the city were very Blade Runner.
Yes.
Where the neons and the what's. As soon as they went street level, it lost that, and that's where your Fifth Element thing comes out,
The
and actually
vehicles
fits
look
nicely.
that way.
Yes, because of the makeup on the people, the way they look, as you mentioned. The vehicles, etc. That fits more Fifth Element. It's about the cityscape itself. Yes, that reminds you of Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, like Altered Carbon, I can understand saying it's very Blade Runner and more Blade Runner than 2049. Although I
Absolutely.
also disagree, but anyway, purely because, of course, it does look like Blade Runner. When they're on the ground, it looks like Blade Runner. It's always raining, like in Blade Runner, etc., etc., etc. There are a lot of similarities there. Whereas this one, for me, as soon as they went street level, the similarities were gone.
It became Fifth Element as far as I'm
It
concerned.
became something else. I mean, yes, it's all filmed at night. Apparently, there's no daytime.
There's no daytime because it's just raining because of carbon smog or whatever the fuck.
You know, but other than that, yeah, I would definitely disagree with that. No, it's not more Blade Runner than Blade Runner 2049.
No.
One thing I also kind of missed out, I'm playing definitely the bad guy over here, is that they constantly mention this background war thing and these missing soldiers and stuff like that, which are never expanded on.
Oh, the US,
So what?
yeah, the US.
No, but what's the point of putting it in there? If you could put more about the story of the characters in there, then why constantly have this? Look, what was it? There was a joke thing like, if you know he's this, call us. Don't be slow or something along those lines. I forget what they said.
I remember what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact wording either.
But just to me, it was there, but it didn't sort of fill the role. If you're going to constantly push it in there, there has to be a reason for pushing it in there. But maybe as I say, it's just me kind of thing. As far as the actors, other than the main, what do you think of the supporting cast?
There wasn't really much of a supporting cast, really.
Yeah.
Well, you had the one black dude gangster with his headphones
no,
on.
they're
You
very
had that
smart,
big guy who was reading a
That was
Yeah,
funny.
that's
comic.
With
That
his
was
pink
funny.
shirt.
Was it in
You
the
spend
book
very-
corner?
You spend very little time with them, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't really.
But no, what I'm trying to say is I think they were very good. I
Yeah.
think they were complimentary. They were not bad actors.
No,
Definitely
no,
not
the
bad
acting
actors.
is very good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I say, I was looking on Twitter earlier this morning and people were complaining about the acting, saying it was shoddy.
No, it wasn't.
Bullshit. That is so untrue. You can't say that.
Yeah, but sorry. Just the thing is, like, it's. I will say it's a lot of European actors. I happen to love European films, and I watch a lot of German cinema, Iceland, Scandinavia, that sort of thing. So they have those kind of accents, and maybe that's why, like, maybe American critics would say that sort of thing because, like, oh, they don't sound American. Well, that's kind of the point because it's set in Berlin.
Yeah.
You know, so when it's not set in Kansas.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know, maybe because for me that might be some people because like accents can play off, and some people are horrible at recognizing accents and like saying, "Oh man, I don't even understand you."
Yeah, what are you saying?
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
I don't know if that maybe got to people, but for me, I thought it was great because.
I love the diversity of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I say, there was German, there was English. The one guy was actually we said he sounded like he was trying to be South African.
yes.
That was our friend. What's his name?
Dominic, what's his name from the Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings. Yes.
Yeah, Pippin.
Pippin. That's right. And he puts on the South African accent, which is to me one of the hardest accents you can pull off. Only one person's ever
To
done.
not sound cuck.
Yes.
Yeah, let's put it there. In a true
It was-
South African
it
does
was-
not sound cuck.
He did sound cuck. I hate to say.
Even
it.
Arnold
No,
Vosloo, who
yeah.
is South African,
Not
sounded
that
cuck
bad.
as a South African
Oh,
accent
But
in
I did
Hard
think-
Target.
I didn't think he was Australian to start off with.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I mean, after watching Black Panther with Andy Serkis, who does
Yes.
one of the best Afrikaans accents I've ever seen, this is crap compared to it. So I'm like wondering why they would put that in there. But yeah, that's a bit hit and miss if
I
you
think
ask
maybe
me.
it was just to show that the whole thing was very cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
Yes, and they did a very good job of
Yeah.
delivering that. I mean, as I say, it's very diverse. You've got all colours, all. Oh yes, one of the main things I found in this was the whole sexuality thing, which was kind of on your nose, very much like Altered Carbon. But there was a
Yeah.
reason in Altered Carbon for that because they
Yeah.
had skins. You know, they're not sleeves. Sorry.
Yeah.
But in this, it played quite a forefront thing, but also to again,
That didn't show you anything really.
yeah, that didn't really make a reason. I mean, they're in a whorehouse, and there's a lot of what looks like paedophilia going on in the background. There's underlying elements and quite a few plot points
no,
there.
No.
Well, there is.
No, no. You're going to give me spoilers now if you're carrying on. with
No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just saying that they have elements like that, and you're not quite sure why they're there. I mean,
But
I
that's-
didn't
that's the whole
understand
thing.
that.
That's something I feel quite strongly about, is that everything doesn't have to be explained to you.
No, for sure. I mean, as you were saying
Yeah.
the other day, not having everything given on a silver platter. But if you're going to have heavy themes like that, to me, there's usually supposed to be a reason why. I don't know if you picked up on that. I mean, there
No,
was,
definitely. I mean, there were a few scenes where it's hinted at what's about to happen, and like you literally sit there going,
and you go,
and
oh
I
god.
literally look away because like I don't want to watch this now, you know. And then scene cut to the next thing. It's like okay, so it's leaving it up to my imagination. Good,
Yes.
I shall just not think about it.
Yes, but
So-
in my mind, it was like, okay, cool. If they're going to do that, then there has to be some element that's going to affect the plot, which didn't.
But it did.
Well, yes, been
Quite strongly, actually.
towards the end, but I'm talking
Towards
about
the
lots
end.
of other elements of sexuality. I mean, there's one
Yeah.
scene with our friend who's trying to speak Afrikaans with a whole bed set up going on. I was like, what?
It was just meant to be weird. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's
Yeah.
meant to be
It's-
different and outstanding, and so why does it have to be explained? It doesn't have to be explained.
No, I'm not saying it has to be explained. I'm just saying that usually there's a reason why there's something
But
in
there doesn't
there.
have to be a reason.
To
No, it
me,
doesn't.
no.
Honestly.
To me, it's
I
like.
will argue with you till the end of the
I know
earth
you
about
will,
that.
and I will still disagree with you. If you're going to put something that it just felt shoehorned, some of those things. I just felt like it was pushed in there to try and be a bit edgy. At least, as I said about Altered Carbon, there's a particular reason why. That's explaining things. I mean, Altered Carbon explained most things. I'd say all of them, as a matter of fact.
Poorly, half the time.
Half the time, yes, actually, yeah. I mean, this, as you said, it was a slow burn. Do you
Yeah.
want to go a bit more into that?
That's pretty much all you really need to say. I mean, it does
Because it's a
take-
2-hour-long movie.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it does take place at a very slow pace as, as this investigation carries on.
Yeah, which I actually liked. I liked the pacing in this. It's not like Blade Runner 2049 or even Blade Runner in that slow sort of pace.
Yeah.
This is a bit more interesting.
But as
in,
but to Trevor's point, it's covering two stories.
Yes.
So if you're going in and it's called Mute, and you're right up front introduced to this guy who is mute. Okay, cool. He's the main character, but he's half of it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And as the movie progresses, you realize they're telling two stories that are heading
Definitely.
towards one another, and that's why it takes so long. So it has to be sort of slow burn to try and keep
And
both sides of the story up
Pacing
with one
between
another.
those two stories is also very different.
It
Paul
is.
is very frenetic
Very.
to keep up with his character.
because
Yes,
he is
exactly.
literally
Yes.
insane. So everything's good. But then when you go to
Whereas
Skarsgård,
It's
it's
just very slow and methodical.
yeah, everything he does. I mean, even from looking through a
Yeah.
telephone directory, and
Yes.
you're like, this poor bastard, he really needs to speak, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it actually worked quite well as far as the story is concerned. And like I said, Duncan Jones, I thought he did a damn good job
Yeah.
directing this. It definitely does not deserve the hate that
not
the
at
internet
all.
seems to be throwing and piling onto Netflix. I mean, Altered Carbon is what was it, sitting on 66%, I think, right now on Rotten Tomato. That seems to just receive hate just because what? Maybe because it's Netflix. Do people have an issue with this? I don't know what they do. Anywho, so let's round up with giving scores. So you
7.
7.
Yeah, I was actually going to say 7. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would say a
definitely
7.
give 7.
definitely.
I think it's worth watching. It's damn good science fiction. It's got very good visuals, good acting as well.
I actually wouldn't call this science fiction. I mean, it's set in
Yeah,
futuristic, but there's
yeah.
no...
It's more noir, isn't
Yeah.
it? Detective noir.
Yeah.
It happens to be set in the future. And some
Yeah.
things,
Are
plot-wise,
futuristic.
are futuristic.
But it's not a sci-fi.
No, it's not a sci-fi. You're not going to have aliens coming out or anything
Yeah.
like that, you know. Altered Carbon, way more sci-fi than
Yes.
this, because it literally is taking the idea of putting people into other people. This, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Some quite interesting torture scenes in this as well.
But that's the thing. I mean, yes, it's set in the future, but
I think it's supposed to be 2052, if memory serves.
yeah, but other than the way the city looks and the vehicles, and even then, some of the
Like a
vehicles, not
couple
all
of-
of the vehicles, there's
Yes.
actually no hint that it's the future, unless you're paying attention to the news scrolls in the
Yeah.
background.
Which are
kind
quite
of-
a few.
Because
In
the-
German.
yeah, because any weapons that are around, they're pretty much around now. Any
Yeah.
what's them? So it's as you say, it does take the sci-fi out of it. So I
Yeah.
would agree. Yeah, detective noir does suit it a bit more.
Yeah.
So one sentence, if you're going to say to somebody like a quick sort of elevator pitch, one sentence.
Slow burning, but worth the wait.
I would say it's worth watching it just because of Paul Rudd, because the guy's insane and chops.
You get to see two sides of a murder mystery that you want to see play out, because it's actually very interesting to see play out and how these characters interact with each other eventually.
Agreed. And just to sort of put one more last thing in, I'm just thinking right now, is that the movie ends almost like a Lord of the Rings, you know, in Return of the King. You think it's finished, and then it hasn't actually finished, and then they add more, which really complements what you think
Yes.
is the actual round finish of the story. So anyway, go and watch it. I mean, there's no reason not to bloody watch it. There's
No.
certainly not 6% on fucking Rotten
No.
Tomato. Anyway, guys, later.